Oh, hello, I didn't see you there. Do you ever dread doing burpees at the gym or with your trainer? As a trainer, I'm never gonna make you do burpees because I feel that they make you worse for performance on stage with your cardiovascular system. Okay, this month we're gonna talk about cardio and the reasons why. And I'm gonna give you the type of cardio that's gonna help you to be better on stage, it's gonna improve your vocal performance and your breathing. So tune in to this week's episode for an overview. All right, guys, welcome to our overview of cardiovascular training for singers. And so as I alluded to in our preview, as a trainer, I will never make you do burpees, okay? And the reason that is because I believe that they make you worse for performance on stage, okay? And the reason that is because as a singer, you want a strong aerobic system in order to keep going, to manage your breaths, and to allow you to recover, okay? A strong aerobic system is your buffer for stress. Okay, because anytime you have stage fright, or you miss a note, or you're stressed out on stage just due to a hostile audience or a poor conductor, your heart rate goes up. Okay, your fight or flight system is going to come on. And what a strong aerobic system is going to do is help to bring that heart rate down faster. It's going to help to act as a buffer against those things, and it's going to help to stave off the conditions of fatigue that are created as you go throughout a performance. So that's why I believe that the stuff that we do, the cardio that we choose is incredibly important. And so we want to build this base of a really, really strong aerobic system and then kind of tear up from there. There definitely are times when we want to do really hard things, but the key with that is we're going to use nasal breathing, as we talked about in our breathing series, over the last few months, to kind of regulate what we do. Okay, so what that means is that as I'm squatting, okay, if I'm doing squats, okay, I'm going at a certain rate, and I can continue to breathe through my nose at a decent cadence, so then it's probably aerobic. Okay, whereas if I'm going so fast that I'm hyperventilating or I have to breathe through my mouth, okay, then I've made it anaerobic. And then I'm training my body to sort of jump into this fight or flight situation earlier. So the pace that we use and the way that we do it is incredibly important. You can really apply that strategy to any exercise. So in the next two segments, I'm going to show you two types of cardio that we're going to kind of elaborate on in future weeks. For sort of our base training, which we call cardiac output work, where the goal with that is to breathe at to move at a decent pace, but to continue to breathe through your nose and continue to keep going. As long as I can continue to keep this constant nasal breathing, without having to break and stop and pant, then I know that I'm getting what I want. Okay, and as you go along, that also teaches you to mediate your heart rate, based upon as you start to get fatigued, you have to slow down a little bit in order to keep that pace. I'm also going to teach you what's called threshold training, where we get right up at the threshold, our aerobic threshold, where we almost have to sort of break and breathe through our mouth, but we're training our bodies to become sort of comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that's going to kind of first method's going to raise the floor, second method's going to raise the ceiling for performance a little bit. So tune in and check it out. All right, so when we talk about cardiac output work, or just sort of aerobic, long, slow distance aerobic work, there are a couple different ways that we can do that, okay? Our goal with whatever we do is we want to keep a constant sort of maybe 3 seconds in, 3 seconds out nasal breathing pattern, and you're not going to remember to do that through your nose, but again, you're not going to remember to pace that, but just a decent breathing pattern as you get into sort of your rhythm. And we can either do that by doing things like an elliptical, a bike, or even setting up circuit training. I don't necessarily like running for that unless you are an experienced runner, because running is a little bit harder on the body. So if you're new to exercise and you're just starting out, I highly prefer circuit training because you can sort of put stress in different areas of your body versus concentrating it everywhere, which is running. So for that, I would recommend like elliptical, cycle, circuit training. As you get a little bit more fit, then you can look at running as a strategy. But I'm just gonna use circuit training as a guide. Our goal is to do around 30 minutes of total work. And what I like to do when it comes to circuit training is I'll just break it up into maybe 3 basic circuits for 10 minutes each. I'm just gonna give you one here. What we're gonna do is do 3 exercises. We're gonna just do 8 reps each. And my goal for you is just breathe through your nose, okay? You can do as many rounds as you want. The goal is for it not to be super hard, but just to be moderate. You're continuing to be able to move, you know, and it's at a decent pace with nasal breathing. Just be sure to, you know, to pace yourself, and you could do this for 10 minutes, maybe rest for 3 and do it again, or you could do this and a few other circuits that you put together, you know, whatever it may be. I've got 2 dumbbells here. Certainly, I have clients that use water bottles. You know, it's really arbitrary, but what weight is not a concern here. But what we've got is we're just gonna do we're gonna do 8 squats. All right, we're gonna come into a push-up position. We're either gonna do 8, what we call bear rows on each side where I'm on my knees and I'm alternating, or if you wanna challenge yourself, you can come up, do the same thing as standing. All right, then we're gonna stand up, and what I like to do is I'll just do some skips in place. So, you know, something like that, just give it a little bit more of a dynamic component, or I can do high knees, maybe 8 on each side. Again, so your goal, continue to breathe through your nose, continue to be able to kind of keep this pace, and again, slow yourself down as you need to, or speed yourself up as you need to. About 10 minutes, 3 sets of 10, or 30 minutes in total if you're doing steady state work. So the next method that we want to discuss is called threshold training. And it's aptly named because we're right at the threshold of where we sort of like want to break and start to pan. And in this type of training, you're going to be sort of almost hyperventilating through your nose, like a faster, and that's okay because that's right at your threshold. And so our goal is just to incrementally push that up. Now, when we're doing this type of work, we're doing a much shorter amount of work. We're not going nearly as long. So maybe 3 sets of 3 to 5 minutes versus 30 minutes. And the goal here would be, you wanna do maybe 1 or 2 exercises that you can do near maximal capacity while continuing to move and not breathe through your mouth. So I like to do something that I'm familiar with. So again, an Airdyne or a cycle works really well. Maybe battling ropes at the gym is good. Anything where you can continue to move. And the other possibility is that you could choose 2 exercises that you go in between, and just move about as quickly as you can. So again, using the same 2 exercises as we focused on in our cardiac output circuit, I could say, okay, I'm going to do 6 squats and 6 rows on each side. And this time I am going to do as many rounds as I can in a period of 5 minutes, just understanding that I need to continue to breathe through my nose, so moderate it a little bit. So just very quickly, fast-paced squats, and fast-paced rows. Again, just continuing to breathe through my nose, but being right at that threshold where I need to break. It's almost like I'm becoming comfortable with being uncomfortable there. So 3 sets of 3 to 5 minutes there. Choose one thing that you could do at a pretty hard pace, or maybe choose 2 things that you could go back and forth and really push the envelope. Give that a go and let us know how it goes.